Hi, guys, and welcome to Co-Parenting with Chris. I know it's been a while, but I am back, and I would like to talk to you guys today about parenting styles. We all have different methods and different patterns and different ways of parenting and handling and guiding our children into becoming very awesome and productive human beings that we would enjoy being around and dealing with on a day to day basis. So, I would like to talk to you and go into a little detail about those different parenting styles. According to a Harvard study, I believe I did take some notes because it is quite a bit of information that I did come across that I didn't want to go over with you guys. Um, Harvard Family Research actually, and I went through read through their information that they had online, and also I am still in the process of reading a book entitled Toxic Parents, written by Dr. Susan Ford with Craig uh, Buck. And that book is very interesting. Of course, I mean, when you hear toxic parents, some people go into immediate denial, and other people try to see if they can identify with that. But that's a very real but harsh and aggressive term, like toxic. Like that's like death, you know? No one wants to be, classified as that. But unfortunately, those are some type of parents that do exist in this world. Um, but that saying, hurt people, that's kind of how it goes. It's kind of like a repetitive cycle. So, in order to break cycles, you have to go through the source. So, I feel as though talking about this is going to be something that will help to enlighten us on how we are guiding and parenting our children now. And it's never too late to become a parent who is very responsive and aware with and in tune with their child. They always need a parent in some way, so it's never too late. Um, and of course, before we all were parents, of course we were children, and we've all experienced childhood very differently due to economic, racial, religious backgrounds or whatever, and we all have memories that are more pleasant than others. And a lot of that is due to the resources, due to the economic and financial resources that our parents may have had, or their knowledge or educational background or whatever. So, my question for you is, how well do you feel your parents did raising you with the resources that they had to help raise and guide and prepare you for your future? And I have another question I would like to raise is, do you want your children to view you as you view your parents? I'm gonna let you think about that for a second because that's a little deep. Like, some people's relationship with their parents aren't the best. Some people's relationships are awesome. Some people's relationships are going under repair. Some relationships are non existent. So, do you want what you feel you were exposed to, or how you were handled, or guided, or loved, or treated as a child? Do you want your children to view that the same way? I love both my parents dearly. My parents, I come from a single parent home. My father lives in Chicago, and I'm here in Pennsylvania. And I didn't have the luxury of knowing that life of having both parents in the household. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not all gun ho for some people who have had both parents. But when you don't have something, you're kind of always curious, like, I wonder what that's like. Especially like seeing as a child, it did bother me. Like, so and so has mom and dad. Like, I would love that too. Like spending school year with mom and summer with dad. It was was annoying, but I was very blessed to be able to have a relationship with both parents and know that I can call either one of them and that I was loved. Like, it did bother me not having my father present. Like, I did have, like, daddy issues, maybe, whatever. But, my mother was awesome. She did the best that she could. She did what she knew how to do. Um, and I love her for that. I'm very grateful. Some things I do not agree with, it is what it is. Um, and in some ways, I really feel like things could have been done or handled differently, but they weren't. And I still turned out to be what I think pretty awesome. I think I rock. So. And regardless of whatever situations you've gone through that weren't pleasant, I mean, you still rock too. You're awesome sauce. Don't let that be something to hold you back or restrict you from your purpose and being productive and living life to the fullest extent that you can, and that is, due to your perspective of life. So with that being said, I would like to go into the different parenting styles. Now we do have the authoritative parent, and we have the permissive parents. We have the authoritarian, and we have the neglectful parent. Um, and I don't think anyone really likes to, or who is, unfortunately, that wants to be that. And, you know, being a neglectful parent, like, really is just not the way to go. Like, that's just, no. Like, yeah. But we do have that, or whatever. Some people have their own backgrounds that they come from that they do not overcome before they have children, which leads them to not doing the best job that they could as parents. So when you have parents who are in that category or that state of mind or that phase of life, um, I definitely agree with them putting them up for adoption, or just don't have the baby, just don't do that. So the authoritative parent is considered one of the most effective ways of parenting. That is like an awesome balance. Those parents are both firm in their rules, but they're also very responsive to their children. Now, according to the Harvard Family Research, being a responsive being responsive as a parent is being warm and accepting when you're dealing with or talking to um, your child. It's okay. So, um, according to Harvard Family Research, being a responsive parent is being like warm and accepting with dealing with your child, having those behaviors when you do respond to your child. So, like for example, if your child, when they're very young, it's very important to instill this relationship with your children when you're this characteristic when you're young, to utilize it. When your child is say crying and you do not respond to the child, or you're nasty, filling the infant around in frustration, the child most definitely can sense that type of energy and vibe from you, which causes, fussiness, tension. The child is stressed or whatever. Let's jump a few, a year or two older. Say your child is 2 or 3, and they hurt themselves and they're crying, and you do tend to them, oh, poor thing, what's wrong, what happened, however you respond to your child or whatnot, and they sense like, oh, I hurt myself, I feel bad, this pain is inflicting me, like it's like interrupting all of my other senses right now, like I need some comfort or whatever. And if are just like, oh, you hurt yourself, oh wow, that to be honest causes an immediate disconnect that does not help to formulate any type of trust or foundation for your child, or say like you're always mean and snappy to your child, they're going to also most likely become very mean and snappy and short because they're just repeating what they are taught and what's instilled in them. So I think it's very important to be responsive when it comes to your child. It gives them a sense of acceptance, a sense of safety, um, because children who don't get that, they may very well explore other options like drug, alcohol, sex at an early age, unprotected sex, pregnancy, um, all sorts of types of things. So being responsive is definitely encouraged by me. I believe it also helps to teach them how to communicate. Like if there's dialogue, or when you don't approve of something that your child is doing, instead of just telling them no because I said so, I'm telling you this because you'll get hurt XYZ, so please don't do that. Or just keep it real with your children, to be honest, but do it in a way on their level where they can at least receive. But I think it's very important to be responsive and have that dialogue, because who are they going to turn to if they cannot turn to the people who brought them into this world and who love them the most? So back to the authoritative parent. Um, this is considered to be the most beneficial way of parenting. They are responsive to the child. They are very in tune to their children. The parent understands that along with having high expectations comes a balance of support also. So if you expose your children to the rules and regulations of your household, don't make it something that they cannot obtain, or set a goal or something or a rule that they can reach with your guidance and your help and support. Don't just say this is it and leave them to figure it out on their own, because to be honest, that is counterproductive, uh, more times than not. This method is one of the healthiest ways to do it. It's an environment for growth. The child helps to it helps the child to create productive relationships with other people, and it's also a productive relationship between the child and parents, so that all open sources of communication. They have a trust foundation with you. They're secure, they're loved, and it helps to keep their self-esteem high and confidence high. So that's definitely something that you would love to instill in your children early on, I believe. But also letting them know that there are consequences for their actions, and it helps to give them a sense of, that they won't grow up to feel entitled. They will definitely be humbled and able to live productive lives. That helps to teach them human relation skills, um, and that those are very important in the big grown up world. Um, these parents, they have structure. So, like for example, bedtime. You have a set bedtime for your child. There's a schedule for the child. There's a routine. Um, like I said, there are consequences for disturbing the structure that they do create in the household. Um, you can't just do whatever you want and think that you get away with it, because that's not how it goes out there. Um, and just to make sure the child has an understanding of what you expect from them, um, and what you expect their behavior to be like, and that the expectations are reasonable expectations for the child to reach. Um, and having a healthy and open line of communication, and making sure that your child does feel comfortable speaking to you, because like I said, if they don't feel comfortable turning to you, who can they turn to? And then we have the permissive parent. Now, the permissive parent is the one who wants to be your homie, your best friend, because they want to avoid conflict with the child. They feel like it's easier to deal if the child is just happy all the time. And we're not going to be happy all the time. There's going to be situations where we're going to have to tell ourselves that you're going to be okay, and believe that from yourself, because life is filled with surprises. It's a very beautiful, amazing experience. Like, I'm speechless. I don't have words for it because life is just that awesome, and that life can get crazy. It can definitely get wild, and you need to have your anchors and your foundations built somewhere that's going to hold you down for when you go through that. And you're definitely not going to get your way all the time. So, what tools can you use to navigate through those situations? So, the permissive parent is the parent who wants to be your best friend. Um, they are responsive, but not demanding. There's no structure, no foundation. This parent is very lenient and tries to avoid confrontation, like I said, with the child. Although the permissive parent is loving and nurturing and attentive, the lack of structure is a tremendous negative side effect of parenting. The child may grow up with a little. I'm sorry, guys, my bad. The child may grow up with little to no self discipline, self control, or sense of collectiveness. Um, so this type of parent doesn't set rules or really any boundaries for the child. They find themselves adjusting all of the rules and foundations that they have set for the child to avoid, like I said, confrontation with the child. And children with those types of parents, unfortunately, they do grow up to have like issues. So this parent tries to accommodate the child's mood or behavior. They do try to avoid the conflict and tension with the child, and they are more motivated to be their child's friend versus being the parent. And they do find themselves bribing or compromising with the child more often than they should ever, with like large rewards, which is completely and totally, I feel, unnecessary. Um, and these traits have been described and marked as unhealthy, permissive parenting styles. This provides a false sense of freedom and action without consequence for the child. What the parents with these traits fail to realize is that the child needs and really wants that structure. They want someone to help guide them and navigate them through life. They are a child, not an adult, or a little adult, or a young. No, they're a child. They're an adolescent. They're still learning. Their brains have not, like, your brain doesn't really finish fully developing until you're like 30. So, yeah. Um, the having discipline anyway for the child just helps to give them a sense of security. Like, they know someone has their back. There's nothing that can harm them. That's what that feels like. They know that they'll be protected, and they have a place or somewhere that they can go to show them when they need that security or that feeling of that presence of a parent. Um, um, According to Journal of Early Adolescence, children with permissive parents are 3 times more likely to do drugs, alcohol. Um, they are more likely to become sexually active, or other damaging effects from permissive parenting styles. And these children are insecure, to be honest. They grow up with insecurities um, in their relationships, in themselves, and they lack boundaries, poor social skills, like sharing, for example, because they know that there's no discipline or no consequences for their actions. They may tend to be self centered or entitled, poor academic success because there's no motivation, or clash with authority because they feel as though what they say goes because they're used to always getting their way. And then you have the neglectful parents. Now, pretty much just I think that's self-explanatory. You are just not present for your child, or you just that is just something that personally like bothers me, being a neglectful parent. But I cannot judge the person, and I cannot condemn them. I can just try to help people become more knowledgeable, because there's other reasons why people, many reasons why people are neglective parents. They have mental issues, mental health problems. They are just sometimes, but the ones that are just knowledgeable of what they're doing and doing, those are the ones that frustrate me. Not the ones who genuinely just really need help to to be the parent and give their child what they need. That they're, I can't hold them accountable, but to a certain extent. But that's not what I'm here for, to judge anyone. The neglectful parent is the most harmful, of course. This parenting style uh, just leaves the child to fend for themselves, and this parent in this situation, they just need help. And it's just highly recommended that you do find some type of resource, counseling, whatever's in your local state or city that they have for you guys to be able to become involved in, so that you can get the help that you need, so that you can have a productive child and parent relationship. Um, these parents may suffer from drug, alcohol, or from previous abuse. They may even be in abusive relationships, or have a child from a partner who is abusive, which may lead them to indulge in other recreational things to help cope with the pain, and have been neglected themselves. As I said before, hurt people hurt people. Um, so that the parent needs help also. This parent has typically little to no concern for the emotional, physical, or mental welfare of their child. These parents may not have the understanding of what is going on in a child's life, such as like school, family, friends, relationships, activities, personalities. They may not even know the teacher's name. These parents and children may not communicate, which may make the child feel unsafe, insecure. The parent may often make excuses for their lack of involvement with their child's life. Um, as a result, these neglectful parenting styles, children are raised without a foundation of trust, and that's a very scary thing, to go through life not being able to trust not one person. Um, that's very difficult. That's very difficult. Um, my own personal thoughts is just that, yeah, it's just a really lonely, lonely world without not one person to trust or to depend on. Yeah. So the authoritarian, I wrote in my notes, yikes, like literally, yikes. Okay, so these are the very strict parents, like not the firm, not the this is what you do. No, these are like, you come in my house at 9 o'clock on the dot or else. These are the, you better sit down and tuck your shirt in and eat your dinner with the fork to the left, counterclockwise type. If I'm making sense, maybe I'm being a little dramatic or whatever, but they are like super super strict. There's no room for error. You do as I say, and that's that. And there's no questions asked. There's no room for conversation, no dialogue. You are not allowed to express how you feel or think about this. What I say goes, and if you have any logic or any good ideas or points, you're reprimanded for that, because it goes against the authority that I have set for you. And that is just, I feel like that's kind of difficult. It's structure, of course, is most definitely needed, but I think that's like kind of difficult for the child to grow up not being able to express themselves. Um, I think I said a mouthful. I think I kind of summed up what I wrote here, but I'll still like reiterate that. This parenting style is demanding but not responsive. In this home, there will be like a call and response type of relationship. Do as I say when I say do it type of vibe. Children with authoritarian parents have little room for dialogue and are punished to ensure that they are obedient to the rules or lessons that they are taught, and they are sometimes used as an example if there are multiple children in a home. Like there will be multiple parents to reprimand um, the child. Um, the child will just be reprimanded as an example if there are multiple children in the home. So, guys, with that whole mouthful of everything that I said, and I hope that that did make sense. Jalen's here. You want to say hi?
Hi. Hi.
Cut that part out. Come say hi. Jalen's here. So, yeah. Alright, so guys, I personally consider myself to be an authoritative parent. I think I have a great balance with Jalen here. What do you think, Jalen? Jalen knows that there's rules
Around here.
there's rules around here. But he also knows that he is loved and that he can talk to me about what?
Everything.
Everything, yes. He knows he's loved. Any and everything. When he's happy, when he's sad, when he's scared, even when he isn't sure, even if he thinks I'm going to be angry. But he also understands that there's respect, right?
Yeah.
You respect your mom.
Mhm.
You need to be kind and polite. And then you just, I'm raising my child to be someone who I wouldn't mind passing or working with. You know, I just, I don't want to put another in the world. We have enough in the world, right, guys? Like, we don't need any more. So, I hope that was informative. I hope that that does cause you guys to do some self reflection, because in order to grow, we do have to reflect on ourselves. I think you guys are totally awesome. I think you guys are doing the best that you can. You're doing a great job. Keep up the great work. And when you're feeling down and low or whatever, just look at your little baby boy or baby girl, or they're always going to be our babies, and just that's a blessing. Like you're still here. I am able to keep a roof over your head, feed you, clothe you, and teach you things, and give you experiences that you be able to utilize when you become an adult and are trying to be great yourself. It's past his bedtime, guys, and mine too. I am very tired, but I appreciate you guys joining me in co-parenting with Chris. Please like, subscribe, and I will greatly appreciate it. Good night.